Hi girls, gays, and theys. My name is Jess, and welcome back to my channel, Books Past Bedtime. So today we're starting a new reading vlog. I did a similar vlog to this last summer and it was so fun, and I found so many of my favorite reads of the year in that vlog. And that was when I read 5 queer SFF books over the course of a couple of weeks. I love that video. I thought it turned out so fun, so I wanted to do it again this summer. This vlog though is going to be exclusively science fiction books. There's no fantasy. They're kind of like SFF, I guess, but for the most part science fiction is the focus of these choices. I have vlogged 5 different books that I'm very excited to share with you, and these are them. So I have Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, Bonds of Brass by Emily Scretzi, The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schaefer, The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, and In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. And this is the one we're going to be starting with. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Alright, I'm about 50 pages into In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, and I wanted to give you kind of an initial thoughts update. I kind of think of The House in the Cerulean Sea, Under the Whispering Door, and In the Lives of Puppets as like companion sort of books. They're definitely not, but they're definitely the same sort of style. They're like brother-sister books. Like, they're similar in tone and in writing style and in characterization, humor level, and like feeling and vibe, but they are not necessarily in the same world or following the same characters, anything like that, but they are just similar in vibe. Basically. But this one is definitely the most sci-fi of the 3, which I am finding very interesting. It's almost like steampunk, I think is the correct subgenre term, in that it is kind of set in a recognizable world, but it includes automatons and robots. They are almost like AI. Kind of. This book is following our main character, Victor. Now, Victor is fully human, but he was left by his parents with Giovanni, who is an automaton, but for all intents and purposes is Victor's father and has raised him. They are both inventors and creators, and Vic is very interested in creating robots and things. He has 2 robot friends that he has created, one named Rambo, who is originated from a Roomba, and another named Nurse Ratched, and they are both hilarious. So funny, just the lines and the dialogue that they have with Vic. So hilarious. I love it. When we are introduced to this book, Vic and Giovanni and Rambo and Nurse Ratched live in this little treehouse compound, which you can kind of see on the cover of this book. They basically live alone, no society. Victor has never really met anyone else at all. It almost sounds like they are living in some kind of post-apocalyptic world. Right where I left off, Vic has found a human-like automaton in the junkyard that was on the brink of death, and he and his robot friends have brought it back to the treehouse, and I think he's gonna try and revive it, and maybe I think the story is gonna kind of go from there. So I thought that this would be a good time to update, because that's kind of where I am in the story, and I felt like that would give you a good synopsis without spoiling anything. I am loving this book so far. I really expected no different. I definitely anticipate this to be a 5-star. I anticipated it to be a 5-star before I picked it up. Now reading the first 50 pages, I still anticipate it to be a 5-star read, because it's just so good. I love TJ Klune's writing style so much. He just has a way of creating these characters who you care about from page 1. They're just so unique, interesting to read about. I really wanted to film this clip so I could keep reading, because I didn't want to read farther along to not give you an authentic update. So I'm so excited to continue reading this book today. TJ Klune's writing style just draws you in, and his characters and his worlds are so fascinating, and I love how funny this book is so far. It is hilarious. I've laughed out loud quite a few times, and like I said, I'm only 50 pages in, so I am so excited to keep reading this one. I really don't see how I will not love it. I will keep you updated as I read. So excited about this one. I'm gonna go jump back in right now. You guys, this book is so fucking good. It's so fucking good. I'm literally obsessed. I have 120 pages left, but I swear to God, this is my favorite book of the year. My favorite book of 2023, right here in my hands. I love it so freaking much. I love the cool sci-fi world. I'm so obsessed with the characters. They are so soft and so sweet and so funny and just so perfectly written, and I like the little romance that's blooming. And our main character Victor is asexual, which there's not enough asexual rep in the world. I love that so much. We love to see it. Yeah, this book literally is just perfection to me. I could not think of a single thing that would make this book better. So I'm really glad we're starting this vlog off with a bang, because It's so good. I don't even know how to describe it. This is kind of got cozy fantasy vibes. Like if you love cozy fantasy, I would recommend giving this a try. It's kind of like what I would call cozy sci-fi. Also, if you love that trope where like AIs turn sentient, this is definitely up your alley. It just, I don't know, it's blowing my mind how much I love this book. Like I knew that I was gonna like it, but this is next level. I honestly, from page like 100, like right after I updated you, I sent a picture of it to my friend and I was like, this is my favorite book of the year. Like hands down, there's no question about it. It is just so freaking good. I cannot even explain to you how good it is. I can't wait to finish it. I'm very happy to be filming this so that I can finish it. Can't wait to see where it goes. I stopped like just before the kind of climax of the book, I think, so I think it's gonna get really good in the last 100 pages. It's already been really good, but the last 100 pages are just gonna blow my mind. I feel like it's gonna be crazy, and I just am fingers crossed that everything turns out okay in the end, which I would assume that it would, because most TJ Klune books do, at least ones I've read. So freaking love this book. I love this so freaking much. It is so good. So good. Hello, I finished In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, and no surprise here, I absolutely fucking loved this book. 5 out of 5 stars, my favorite of the year. I'm not gonna even say so far because I really think that this is gonna be my favorite book of the year. I can't imagine a book topping it. It just was really that good. And I'm so obsessed that we're starting this video off with a bang and a book that I absolutely really enjoyed, because that just makes me so much more excited to dive into all of the rest of the books that I have planned. But yeah, this book just had everything. It had immaculate writing, such good world building. It was such a unique concept without like reinventing the wheel or me being like confused at any point. I also just loved the humor so much, and the characters were just so well developed, and I just fell in love with them from the time they were introduced. Like there was not a point in this book that I was bored, that I was ready for it to be over. Like I just wanted to keep reading it forever. There was honestly not a single thing wrong with it that I could say. The ending was super emotional. Like the last 100 pages after like from my last update till now were very emotional. I was reading this at work and I was crying, and I do think my coworkers thought I was fucking crazy, but I just couldn't not feel those emotions because, oh, I don't know. And it's just been so long since a book has made me cry. I think this might be the only book that's made me cry all year. And I don't know, that always endears a book to me, because I just feel like if it can make you feel those emotions, it's just doing its job right, you know? TJ Klune sure knows how to do his fucking job. So this book was fantastic, immaculate, wonderful. I think everyone should read this, and I really just can't imagine anyone reading this and not falling in love with it. I'm sure there are people out there, but don't tell me if you're one of them, because it will hurt my feelings. Hello, I'm here with first update on book number 2. Book number 2 is Bonds of Brass by Emily Skretsky. This is a character-driven high sci-fi following Gal and Etienne. They are roommates and best friends at this military academy, but in the first chapter, there is an assassination attempt on Gal's life, and Etienne is like, what the hell is going on? Turns out Gal is the heir to the Umber Empire throne, which is the like colonialist ruler of this sci-fi kingdom thing. I don't know how exactly to explain it. And so Etienne, as a member of one of the colonies that was colonized by the Umber Empire, his life was kind of destroyed because of them. He has to decide if he is on the side of the resistance or if he's going to be on Gal's side, and will trust that his friend is a good enough person to kind of try and revitalize and make the Umber Empire into like a good thing. He's also kind of in love with Gal, so that really influences his decision, let me just say. So basically this is like a high action race to save Gal's life, and also hopefully a little bit of romance thrown in. Currently I'm 100 pages in, so this book is like just barely over 300, so I'm a third of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I really am liking both Etienne and Gal and their chemistry and relationship together. That's obviously what I'm living for, as that is just who I am as a person. I'm very like character based reader, and I love relationships and dialogue and interactions between characters. But I'm also really liking the sci-fi world in this. It's very like action-packed, like I said, full of like politics and political maneuvering, and the whole thing like takes place in high sci-fi space, like no references to Earth at all. It's definitely giving me Winter's Orbit vibes, which was one of my favorites from this, like from the first installment in this kind of like reading vlog series. I'm loving that, and I'm really hoping that it gives me the same like screamy feelings that Winter's Orbit does. I know that this is a series, this is the first book in a trilogy, so I'm not sure we're gonna get like a fully wrapped up, fully realized, complete romance and like closed up plot. I doubt that that's gonna happen in this book, but I'm hoping that it really sets up the series well and will make me want to continue with the series. And so far so good. I'm really enjoying it. If I had to rate it right now, I'd probably give it 4 stars. I don't have that 5-star feeling yet, but it is really, really good, and I'm very much enjoying it. And so I'm gonna keep reading, and I will update you probably when I have 100 pages left, and then at the end, and we'll see if my feelings change or stay the same. Alright, I got to chapter 20, page 203, and I'm putting my bookmark in and going to bed because it's like 10:30. Sorry if you can hear my AC, but I cannot sit in my car without it. So last night I read 100 more pages of Bonds of Brass. I have about 100 pages left because it's like 300 pages, like I said. And I'm feeling conflicted. I'm not loving it as much as I hoped I would. It's not giving me as much Winter's Orbit vibes as I was hoping it would. And I guess that's my fault for like trying to compare it to another book that it's not. I didn't need it to be like that. I just wanted a similar feeling that I got when I was reading that book. Like I just wanted a romance that I could scream and squeal over in a sci-fi setting. And this is unfortunately not that book. I like the characters and I like the story, and the like plot itself and the world is super interesting, but the romance is lacking. Like I think it's supposed to be kind of a slow burn, will they won't they kind of thing. So we only get one POV. We're only following Etienne's POV. We don't get Gal's POV, which I feel like would make me like this book better. I do like a romance where you get both perspectives. Etienne is just so conflicted throughout this entire story, and he keeps saying things that contradict each other, and the way that he sees Gal is honestly like, I don't love Gal that much based on the way Etienne describes him. Part of the reason is that like Etienne doesn't share his feelings and thoughts with Gal very often, so Gal is kind of painted as being a little bit out of touch. I don't know, like I just wanted to love this so much, and I am not getting those same feelings. I think I liked it a lot more in the beginning. It just feels very like contradictory to me, and I feel like I can't tell where it's going. Like I feel like the actions and the feelings of the characters are different than like what they're saying. So I'm like, is somebody gonna switch up loyalties? Is something major gonna happen? Like I can't really see where it's going, and I'm not sure that I'm rooting for this romance, which a huge bummer because that's the whole reason I'm reading this book. Like that's the whole reason I read any book, is to root for a romance. The fact that this one is leaving me feeling unsatisfied is not my fave. I'm gonna continue reading it. I only have 100 pages left, so I will probably hopefully finish it today. I don't know, like I wanted more from it. I wanted more feelings and connection and emotions, and to just like scream over these characters, because that's my favorite kind of reading experience, and I feel like that's a reading experience that I pretty much only get with like fantasy or sci-fi romance books with a slow burn romance, and this is just unfortunately not fitting into the category the way I wanted it to. So yeah, I am enjoying it. Right now it's more like a 3-star read. I know in the first clip I said it was feeling like a 4-star, reeling that back a little bit. So I'm really glad we started off this video strong with a 5-star, because I don't think that this one is gonna be a 5-star, but who knows, the last 100 pages sometimes can make or break a book. So I will keep you updated, and I will give you my final thoughts once I finish this book. Hello, it is time for a reading update. I finished Bonds of Brass, and I feel very conflicted about it still. The end was good. There was a good twist at the end, but I just wanted more romance. Like the whole time I was like, Etienne, do you even like Gal? Like you keep talking shit about him, and then you're like, oh my god, I can't live without him, and then you're like, he sucks. I'm like, what is happening? I didn't like the back and forth. I know that this is going to be like sacrilege, like you guys are gonna be like, you're fucking crazy, but honestly, I prefer a miscommunication trope to whatever the hell was happening in this book, because at least with the miscommunication trope, like you are rooting for the romance because you know the characters really truly like each other and are just like in their own way. But these characters just like didn't even like each other. Like I couldn't tell if they wanted to be together or not. And I, in a romance, need to be able to tell if they want to be together or not. Like I wanted to be able to root for them. Even if there wasn't a lot of like actual romance happening on the page, like I at least wanted to know that their feelings, like I wanted to know their feelings, to know if they had feelings for each other, and I just, that did not translate in this book. Like I could not tell if they truly like liked each other or not, and we're gonna be endgame. Like I know that they are because that's what this series is, but I didn't feel it, and I wanted to feel it. I wanted to feel it so bad. So I'm really disappointed. I was really hoping that this book was going to be 5 stars. It was on my 5-star prediction list for 2023. Didn't end up sharing that with you guys just because I wasn't doing anything in the beginning of the year. But this book was on there, so I'm so let down. I think that this is going to end up being just like a 3-star read, maybe 2.5. Like it was well written and the story was good and the action was good. And I actually liked the other character that comes in, Wen. She was really funny. I liked her a lot, and I liked her and Etienne's connection. But I just wanted that a connection between Etienne and Gal as well. Like it was very frustrating to me that I couldn't root for the romance the way I wanted to. So I don't know if I'm going to continue with this series, which makes me sad. Like part of me wants to know what's going to happen next, and there was like the first chapter of the next book's at the end of this one, and I did read it and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I don't know. I'm so disappointed that I didn't love this one. But on a different note, I did also start The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schaefer. This is a YA male-male sci-fi romance situation type of deal. In this book, we're following Ambrose and Kodiak, and they are both 17 years old, which is like the optimal age to go into space so that you don't get killed from cancer developed by radiation. I don't know. The reasoning for sending teenagers into space was thin, but it's a YA book. Who cares? Basically, these two are from 2 opposing countries, and they are sent on a rescue mission to Mars, I think, where Ambrose's sister is, or Kodiak's sister. I can't remember which is which now. Yeah. Ambrose's sister. They're rescuing Ambrose's sister, who is also like a space 6'4", was trying to help set up a colony on Mars or some shit. And basically these boys are very different. They have automatic animosity between them because the 2 countries that they're from have animosity between them, but they're hurtling through space all alone, only the 2 of them on board, so they have to kind of figure out how to work together and how they're going to save Ambrose's sister. I am a little over 90 pages into this one, and it's good so far. I'm really liking Ambrose as a character and interested to see more of Ambrose's and Kodiak's interactions with each other. They haven't interacted a ton so far. The first part of the book was really just a setup and like getting to know our characters and the world they're in and the ship they're on, things like that. And I think it's going to pick up from here, so I'm excited to see where it goes. I don't really have a lot of thoughts yet. I do have higher hopes for this one though than I did for Bonds of Brass at this point, so that is good. I'm having a good time so far. The writing's good, characters are good, no complaints. So once I have read quite a bit more, I will give you an update and let you know my thoughts. Time for some vlog updates. So I am less than 100 pages until the end of The Darkness Outside Us, and it's getting really good. Since I last updated you, there was like a really huge twist, and it was something that I was definitely not expecting, and it definitely shocked me, and it definitely is adding a lot of intrigue and excitement to the plot. I don't want to spoil the twist for you, but just know there's a good twist in this book, and I really have no idea where it's going to go from here. Like, we're less than 100 pages from the end, and I am still like, oh, what the fuck is gonna happen? I do really like our characters, Kodiak and Ambrose. I am really enjoying both of them and seeing their interactions with one another, although I do, like, wish the romance was a little bit more heavy in this book. I know that's a common complaint with me in books, but it doesn't have to be, like, a lot of, like, physical on-page, like, romantic interactions. It just, I want to feel pining. I want to feel like these characters are obsessed with one another, you know? I don't know how healthy that is. That's just what I like reading about in my romance, and with these two, like, I'm not necessarily getting that. Hopefully that'll ramp up in the last 100 pages. Once the book and the plot kind of like reaches its conclusion, there'll be more room for that. So yeah, right now this is feeling like a 4-star book. I'm really enjoying it. I really like the writing, I really like the plot, I really like the setting, I really like the characters. It's really cool. It just is a little bit too YA, and I'm not getting that spark between the characters that I like really am craving, but it's really up there. It's really good. I'm having a good time, and the last 100 pages should be very fast paced. I think there's kind of some mixed media sort of stuff in there, so I think that'll make it fly by. I'm planning to finish it tonight, so I will probably not update you tonight because I have a flight that gets in at 2:30 a.m. But tomorrow I will update you once I finish this book. I have a few updates to film, so if you see me in the same outfit, mind your business. But first, of course, I am going to wrap up my final thoughts on The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schaefer. Overall, I really enjoyed this one. The last 100 pages, I will say though, were kind of rushed. I felt like we spent this whole story building up the concept of this world and what was happening, especially after the twist happened, like within the last section that I updated you on. I thought maybe it was going to go a different way. I don't know, and I'm just not sure how I really felt overall about the twist. I don't know, like, it just felt like it made it harder for me to connect to the characters, I think. And we spent this whole time building up to something, and with the ending feeling rushed, it just kind of felt like it fizzled out, and we really didn't get to see necessarily the consequences of what was going on and what was happening in this world. It was just a little bit too conceptual, and at the end of the day, it made it difficult for me to connect to the characters and to believe in their relationship. I just felt like I didn't get to see everything that I wanted to see. And then the ending almost felt like a cop-out, kind of rushed. So while I did enjoy this one, I thought it was written well. I did like a lot of things about it, and I enjoyed my time reading it, especially that last section was like super fast paced and exciting. With the fizzle, it just was much more disappointing. But I think I'm going to settle on a 3.5-star rating for this book. It's just a little above average for me, but not anything exceptionary. I just made that word up. Exceptional or extraordinary. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of have like mixed feelings about this one. Mostly neutral feeling. Like, I finished this book a couple weeks ago and I really haven't thought that much about it since, which is not what I want in a book. Like, I want to be thinking about it all the time. I want it to be like, I don't know, I just want it to be like a memorable experience, and I want to really like connect deeply and care about the characters. And in this book, I just really didn't. I liked it. I feel like I'm being very negative. Like, overall, I did really like it. I'm just like pointing out the things that I didn't like, I guess. But it was fast-paced, it was exciting, I liked the story, I liked the concept. I just wish it had been executed a little bit differently, and then it would have been like a really strong 4-star read, you know? 3.5, it's okay. I think I would put this one between, In the Lives of Poets. In the Lives of Puppets is obviously number 1, but I feel like I do like this one a bit more than Bonds of Brass, so I think it will edge that one out. I have started my next book, and that is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. I am 100 pages in, and it's already super exciting and super gripping. So this is a sci-fi book, obviously. In it, we're following our main character, Gideon. Gideon is kind of like an indentured servant to the Ninth House, and in this world, there are houses 2 through 8 that are a part of the same empire. The first house is kind of like abandoned and doesn't really exist anymore, I believe. Gideon has wanted nothing more than to get away from her service to the Ninth House, and so at the beginning of the story she is planning her escape, but it is foiled by Harrowhark, who is the acting head of the House of Ninth, and she is just evil, and Gideon absolutely hates her so much. But she has gotten this summons from the first house, I guess, the House of the Emperor, to compete in this kind of like challenge, competition of the wills, Hunger Games sort of, where if she wins she'll become, I forget what it's called, a lictor. I don't know what a lictor is, but basically it'll grant her immortality and she'll be very powerful. But in order to compete, she needs a cavalier, and that is where Gideon comes in. Gideon is a great swordswoman, and although she is very lucky and not very loyal to the House of Ninth, she is Harrowhark's best option to win and succeed in this competition. So they kind of begrudgingly team up. Harrow promises Gideon her freedom if she helps her with this, and so Gideon doesn't really have a lot of other options, but she agrees. And so that's basically the premise of the story, where we are 100 pages in. They've just kind of gone off to the first house to kind of suss out the competition. They've just like arrived. I really like the plot so far. I really am liking the world. Gideon as a narrator is hilarious. I downloaded the audiobook to like help me get through this, and I'm glad that I did because the audiobook is excellent. Like, Gideon's voice is just so strong already, and I think she is hilarious and is going to be such a fun character to read from their point of view. I'm also excited to see if this like hatred between Gideon and Harrow devolves into some kind of romance. I'm really not sure if that's where this is going, but a girl can dream. So yeah, I'm so excited by the premise of this book. Sci-fi, Hunger Games like challenge thing, and a hilarious, funny, crude main character. I'm having a great time and I cannot wait to dive further into this book. Once I get into the meat of it and am close to the end, I will give you my next update. Okay, I'm really glad that this vlog is getting back on track because this shit is good. I love this book so much. I'm having so much fun reading it. Gideon is just like the most exciting, funny, hilarious main character, and I really like her because she's very not like chosen one in the midst of the action doing everything. She's kind of like the sidekick, so she has a very interesting perspective of what's going on. She kind of spends a lot of this book just like bumbling around, making observations and getting herself into tricky situations. She's not like actively trying to solve the mystery of what's happening. Did I mention this in the first part? I don't know. This is almost kind of like competition-esque book in the way that like the Hunger Games is a competition book. I can't think of another example off the top of my head, but you understand. So basically everyone from these, there's 9 factions total, but the first faction is like the planet that they're on and they don't have any representatives. There's no one that lives there. So 2 through 9 all have 2 representatives, a necromancer and a cavalier, who are competing for lictorhood, which is kind of like a powerful position in this universe, ultimate necromancer kind of situation type of deal. And there's this like riddle and this conspiracy going on where they are like racing the clock to figure out what they have to figure out and collect all these keys and unlock all these doors and solve all these riddles. But Gideon is the cavalier, so she's basically not the brains of the situation. Harrow is the brains, who is her necromancer. They have a very fraught relationship and the tension is just so good. Every time they have a scene together, I'm just like, okay, make out already. And I really hope that happens. It hasn't happened yet, like, spoiler alert, I guess, but every time they interact, I'm like, okay, let's make out. Please make out. And it just hasn't happened yet, and that's my only gripe with this book, honestly. But basically, Gideon is not in the action. Harrow is the one that is like out there trying to solve everything, and Gideon is just coming along for the ride. Harrow kind of finally just like lets her in on what's going on where I stopped. So now I really think Gideon is going to take more of a front seat role in the like remaining 100 pages of this book, so I'm excited to see where things go. I know that this is like a traditional series and that this book is probably going to end in a cliffhanger and it's going to kill me because every other book, well, Bonds of Brass was not a standalone, but I didn't really care about the characters, so I wasn't clamoring for the next book. But I feel like I'm gonna definitely want to read the next book, and I'm just really hoping that in the last 100 pages something more develops between Gideon and Harrow. They have such an antagonistic relationship with one another. Like, they genuinely like dislike each other, but it's the kind of dislike that it's like you don't care about a person that much unless you like have history and other feelings for them, you know? Like, love and hate are 2 sides of the same coin, whatever that phrase is. Like, I feel like that is Harrow and Gideon, and I love a good enemies to lovers kind of situation. I forgot to mention this, but there's also like another element. So there is the competition element, which is super interesting, but it's almost also like a locked door mystery because necromancers and cavaliers are like turning up dead all over the place and no one knows who's doing it. If it's like one of the other competitors, if it's like teacher or the other librarians that like live on one and are facilitating the competition, or if there's someone else there that they don't know about, or if it's like magic, some kind of conspiracy. That is also interesting. There's another like layer of mystery in it, and I feel like that's what I really am loving about this book, other than the characters Gideon and Harrow, which are key to me enjoying a book, I will say, is liking the main characters, and I love the main characters. That is a definite check for this one. But just the fact that there's so many layers, there's so much lore, there's so much magic, there's so much intrigue, this book is definitely keeping me entertained and I'm loving it a lot, and I cannot wait to read the last 100 pages. I might try and finish it today, so I might come back in the same outfit looking a little more haggard later in the day because it is the morning still, but I'm super excited about this one and really glad I picked it up for this vlog, and I hope that this will be another 5-star for me. It's looking good as of now, so we will see. I just finished Gideon and I am so conflicted. The last 100 pages were crazy insane and it definitely like went in a direction I was not expecting. It was a really crazy, very action-packed. I like flew through it, even though sometimes I was like, I don't know what's going on. It was so good. And I was like screaming and punching the air at one point because something that I had been wanting to kind of happened. So I was very happy about that. But then the ending was just like, holy shit. I can't believe that fucking happened. Where's this gonna go from here? So I will need to immediately pick up the next book. I am very scared for what's going to happen. Like, I can't go into it too much because I would spoil it. But this was so good. I had such a good time reading this. I really loved it. This is definitely in a second place after In the Lives of Puppets. As of now, I really loved it. It's not a full 5-star though, just because like it's not a perfect book, even though I really loved it. My main and probably my only complaint really is that it was pretty confusing. There's a lot of characters in here. Like there are a necromancer and a cavalier from each of houses 2 through 9. That's what, 16 people that you're like trying to keep track of, plus like random other characters that are already on the first planet. Also, everyone had like 3 different names and the author would refer to them as a different name like each time she talked about them. So it was very difficult to like keep track of who was who and what was going on and who was actually talking. That was definitely difficult and confusing and I didn't love that. And also just grasping the whole concept of what was happening. I didn't have as much trouble with that, but some of the like fight scenes, I struggle to understand fight scenes in general, but when like magic, necromancy, bone skeletons are involved, it's even more difficult. So that was probably my only complaint, that everything wasn't super clear. Really, the worst part was just like not knowing who was being referred to when. It got easier like in the second half of the book when half of them were dead. Then it was like easier to keep track of who was who because there were a lot less characters in play, but that shouldn't have to happen for me to like understand who's talking, what's going on. So yeah, that was my only complaint. The reason why it's not getting a full 5-star, just because that contributed to my reading enjoyment. But overall, I really liked this one. I loved the characters. I loved their relationship with one another. I loved the world. I thought it was super cool. I thought this was a super smart and well written book. This is actually a debut, which I just discovered when I was like tracking it in my spreadsheet, which is even more impressive just because of how like unique and thoughtful and stuff that this was. So I don't know, I really liked it. A roaring success, and I can't wait to see where it goes because the cliffhanger was pretty serious and a little sad. So hopefully the next book will redeem that. But yeah, this was a win. Alright, the next and final book for this vlog is The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. This book is set in a world where interdimensional travel is a thing, but the key is one can only travel interdimensionally if they are dead in the parallel world. So there can't exist 2 of the same person in the same world at the same time. The government has recruited all of these people who commonly die in other worlds to be interdimensional travelers for them and go to these other worlds and collect info, you know, government stuff. And our main character, Kara, is one of such people. There are like 366 parallel worlds to the Earth that these people know, and I believe like they're numbered by how many degrees of separation they are from Earth. Like there's an infinite number of parallel universes, but not all of them are Earth or our world. There are just 366 that they have discovered that are similar enough to the current world that interdimensional travel is possible. Kara is dead in like all but 8 of these 366 worlds, so she is like prime material for interdimensional travel. On her latest assignment, she goes to this world and is instantly injured, meaning herself in that world is not dead, even though the intel that her government collected on her world said that herself was murdered in this alternate universe, and she's kind of going to figure out why she was murdered. It's very complicated. It's not that complicated when you're reading it, but I think I explained it okay. Hopefully that made sense. But yeah, that has all happened in the first 100 pages. There's a couple other twists and mysteries, which is super interesting, but that is the gist of what's going on. So Kara has kind of just gotten to this other world and figured out that her self that she thought was murdered in this world is not actually murdered and is actually alive, and she has to figure out what's going on. And at the background of everything, there's kind of like a little bit of a hint of a romance between Kara and like her handler Dell, which is who is on the cover. I believe they're both on the cover. It really hasn't gone anywhere. It's kind of just like an unrequited situation as of now, and if Kara is like stuck in this other world, I don't know what's going to become of that, but I hope something becomes of it because I think Dell is like a super interesting character, so I'm excited to see like where that goes and how that comes together, because as of now, like I have no predictions. Like I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how they're gonna fix what's going on. Pretty crazy. I am enjoying this one so far. The writing is a little bit strange for me. I'm like trying to figure out what it is. It almost seems like it's written in like a passive voice, because I feel like I'm one step removed from the action and what's going on, and that's the only thing I can think of. I don't actually like, it's been a really long time since I took a creative writing class, so I don't know if that's exactly what it is that I don't like about it, and it might not be written in passive voice at all, but that's what it feels like to me. I just feel like a step removed from what's going on, and it's because of the writing. The writing is just a little strange. It's very beautiful writing, but yeah, it's just not very like, you know, snappy action, which is what's happening in the book. The plot is very like snappy action, but the writing doesn't reflect that, so I'm just having a little bit of trouble with that. But overall, I'm liking it. I think it's really good. I read the first 100 pages are really quick. Definitely very exciting. Definitely excited to see where it goes. I am enjoying the characters. I'm enjoying the mystery. I'm enjoying the world. So yeah, this is a good one so far. And once I've gotten a little bit more into the thick of it, I will let you know. I will keep you updated. This doesn't feel like a 5-star book to me as of now, but that could change. And if it does, you'll be the first to know. Alright, let's talk about the space between worlds while I put my hair in some heatless curls. Can I talk and do my hair at the same time? I'm not totally sure. But I read the next like big chunk of The Space Between Worlds, and I'm definitely enjoying it. It's definitely very action-packed, and the story is not going the way I thought it was going to. So basically, from what I explained from the first part, Kara is trying to like uncover this conspiracy that's going on in this other world that she lands in. That like resolves itself quicker than I thought it was going to, which I'm not quite sure how I feel about. But then it kind of just opens up this additional broader conspiracy that is what the book is like actually about. So now there's this broader conspiracy going on, and I have no idea where it's going to go exactly. And secrets are being revealed, and the relationship between Kara and Del is getting more interesting. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. This definitely feels like it might take a slightly more romantic direction than Hera and then Gideon did, which I am excited for. If you know me, you know I am a romance girl. I am hoping that that plays out, and because this book is a standalone, I'm hopeful that it will, you know? But, you know, I've never read this author before, so, like, when I read Kindle Unlimited stuff, I know that it's gonna have a happy ending. But with these, like, fantasy sci-fi books from authors that I don't know, you, like, never know what could happen. So there very could be an unhappy ending. I have no idea. So I am interested to see where it goes. I am definitely enjoying it so far. It's very unique, and the world is super interesting. I've always been very interested in like multi-dimensional travel, the multiverse theory. I think ever since I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch like many years ago. I think it's a super interesting concept, and one that I don't read a ton of sci-fi, but I feel like I don't find it all that often. So I was very interested to see it here. And honestly, I'm really flying through this book. Like, I've read over 100 pages of it today, and it hasn't felt like I've been like reading it that long. It's a very fast-paced read, which I am enjoying. So yeah, something like really sad and tragic happened like right before I stopped reading. But because this book is kind of short and fast-paced, like I don't feel like it took the emotional toll on me it was intended to. Like, I think if this had been like a different book or a longer series or something, it could have possibly been something that made me cry. But because of the nature of this story, it did not. But like I said, I am definitely enjoying it. I'm excited to see where it is going to go from here. And I have less than 100 pages left, I think like 75. So I will definitely finish it tomorrow. Probably won't finish it tonight. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not really a night reader. Like, I like to read in the morning, and during the day before bed I like to like watch YouTube. I don't usually read. I don't know why. Like, I just feel like I don't have the like attention span to read at night. It probably would be healthier for me to read rather than continue to look at my screen, but whatever. So yeah, I will probably finish it tomorrow at work, and I will give you my final update, and then that will be it for this reading vlog, which is crazy. It has been a lot of fun. So I finished The Space Between Worlds, and I liked it. I think I'm probably going to settle on a 4-star rating for this one. It just wasn't a 5-star, like it didn't give me those 5-star feelings. Maybe if this had been a series, I would have been able to get to like a 5-star point. But because everything kind of like wrapped up with a nice little bow kind of quickly, because this book is like barely over 300 pages. So I feel like I needed a little bit more time with the characters, a little bit more development of the plot and things that were happening to like fully appreciate it and to get it to that 5-star level. But overall, this was a really good book. Like, it was very smart. I loved the concept of it and the multiverse theory and way that it was handled in this book. I thought it was super interesting. I did really like the characters. I wish there had been more romance between Kara and Dell, but I'm gonna like always have that complaint. We just didn't get to see their like relationship develop throughout the course of the story. It was very much like one note until the end. I don't know, I just wanted a little bit more from that. Overall, I did like it. I liked the direction it went in. I thought it was cool. I thought it was well done. I did continue to struggle with the writing a little bit. It wasn't my favorite style of writing. I do just feel like it was written in a passive voice or something. Overall, I did really enjoy it, and I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And so that is all the books we're gonna be reading in this vlog. Let's go ahead and kind of wrap things up a little bit. So probably my least favorite book that I read in this vlog, even though I did still like it, was Bonds of Brass by Emily Scretzi. This one got a 3.5 star from me. And then next, I think I would probably put The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schieffer. This one also got 3.5 stars, maybe more like 3.75. I enjoyed it a little bit more than Bonds of Brass, but not as much as the rest of the books in this list. Then next, I would probably put The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. This one's solidly in the middle, solidly a 4-star read. Really good, but not a new favorite. Next would be Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This one I really loved. I thought it was so much fun. 4.5 stars for sure, and I can't wait to read the next in the series and see where it goes. Of course, the first book that I read in this vlog is my favorite. I'm not surprised. I'm sure you're probably not surprised by the way I talked about it, and that is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. I just loved this book so much. A 5-star, a 6-star book. Honestly, this is my favorite book of the year so far, and I think it'll be hard to top it. I'm not sure anything will top it that I read this year, so I'm so happy I read this in this vlog. It was so good. And so that was my final ranking. Definitely no duds in this list. I enjoyed all of these books, just some a little bit more than others, and I am kind of sad that this was not quite as successful as the video last year. I feel like the video last year, the lowest rating I gave out was like a 4-star, 4.5 star. Like, I loved all of those books so much, and I did really like these, but not as much as last year, but that's okay. Definitely because I got this gem out of it, and also this gem. I loved these books both so much, so I'm so excited I was able to read them in this vlog. And yeah, I think that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books and love them, or if you're now planning to read them because of this vlog. I would love to know. If you would like to follow me on any social media, all of my links are in the description down below. Also, if I've inspired you to read any of these books and you would like to purchase them, I do have my Amazon links in the description. I will get a tiny commission from there if you buy through me. You don't have to, of course, but it is there if you're interested. And of course, if you liked this video and want to see more from me and aren't already subscribed, I would appreciate you doing so. You can also like this video to help me out, and comments also help me out as well. I think that is everything I have to say. Thank you so much again for watching this video and for spending some time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.